Hello and welcome everyone. This is your astrology forecast for new moon solar eclipse in Virgo, and it's happening on the 21st of September. And this is eclipse season that is very potent, very strong, very transformative, and it touches many areas of our lives. And it really awakens that Virgo archetype within us, but also the Piscean archetype. And we also had this new moon in Virgo, but that one wasn't eclipse, but the previous new moon was also new moon in Virgo. And that new moon was happening at the first degrees of Virgo. And this one is also new moon, but it's eclipse. And it's happening at the very last degrees of Virgo. So it's something very important that we have to understand, to see, to comprehend, to recognize, to realize, and to see what are we repeating. What is it that we are repeating that is not good for us? But since this new moon solar eclipse in Virgo is South Node eclipse, and South Node represents the past, it represents things that we have repeated so many times through many different lifetimes, things we have mastered, things we know very well, or things that don't serve us anymore that we should just release and let go of. And this new moon solar eclipse could show us something that we've been doing over and over again, but now we have to do that same thing in a new way. It's an opportunity for us to start again something in a new way, whatever that is, whether it's a career path, a relationship, having children, passing exams, whatever that is. Let's do it again, and let's do it differently this time. Let's see ourselves with new eyes. Let's see those opportunities, those same opportunities and same situations, same people with new eyes. And eclipses do bring life-changing events and situations, and their impact is felt, as I say, 4 to 6 weeks before and 4 to 6 weeks after their exact date, and their impact is 6 months long, but their full impact is 18 years long. So this cycle of eclipses that is happening in Pisces and Virgo is 18 years old, and it's very, very strongly related to our ability to take care of ourselves, to be of service in a healthy way, to take care of our health, of our body, to be able to organize ourselves in a way that feels right to our heart. But that's why we are about to see what is in this balance and what is not right, what is wrong with our bodies, where are we mistreating ourselves, where are our routines and habits taking us in the wrong direction? Because Virgo and 6th house deals with habits, routines, daily tasks, obligations, duties, schedules, our free time, time management, mentors as well, obstacles, lawsuits, open enemies, all kinds of things. I mean, it's complex, and it's usually seen as a house that brings challenges and tests, and Virgo, as a perfectionist that has a tendency towards perfection, is really strongly focused on getting everything right, not making any mistakes, seeing the smallest mistake, paying attention to details. It's detail-oriented, and it can be very obsessed with cleanliness. That's why this energy and Virgo archetype in us can also be messy, because there is too much of one thing. If we go into one extreme where we want, or we think that by achieving external cleanliness, we are going to get ourselves sorted out, but that's not what is going on. So that's why we may see that the more someone is obsessed with external cleanliness, the more messy he or she is internally. And everything should be, in the borders of normality. Like we have to know the right measure for everything. That's what Virgo is also about, you know, knowing the right measure of thing, knowing the right measure, not going into extremes. But we may have a tendency to go into those extremes and to recognize where we need to cleanse ourselves internally, like our lifestyle. Where do I need to take better care of my body? What is my body telling me? Am I taking good care of my health? But why? What is intention behind taking good care of my health? Is it because I want to live longer, or is it because I'm aware that this body is a temple and it's serving me? And if I want to experience life to its fullest, I need to have a healthy body. But everything is experience and everything is perception, and we are here for that experience. But if we are unaware of these experiences, if they just happen and pass by, then there is no purpose of that experience. Then this experience did nothing to us. We didn't learn anything. So that's why these experiences repeat each other until we recognize the repetition, and we understand and we acknowledge it, and we experience the experience really. We are alive there, experiencing the experience, not just letting it happen to us. And actually nothing is happening to us. Everything is really, really happening in alignment with where we are internally. And that is something that is very hard for many people to somehow understand and accept. It's very, very hard because, you know, everyone is rejecting to admit and accept full responsibility for the life that we are witnessing and experiencing. Like, it's very important. It's the biggest step towards ourselves and towards our true selves, is to admit to ourselves that everything we see is truly a projection of something that has been suppressed or repressed. This doesn't mean that we are like that, what we are looking at, but this is some aspect of ourselves that we are denying, ignoring, neglecting, rejecting, shutting down. You know, we are mistreating it, we don't want to see it, we are running away from it, we are escaping it. And those things are very, very important. And this is the season of harvesting. So we are all harvesting, and we are all about to see what we are harvesting. And this eclipses are karmic, fated, destined moments and situations that bring us in alignment with what is really meant for us. And as I always say, these are things that we cannot avoid. But what we can change and what we have control of is how we react to what is happening, is how we interpret it, is how we live through it, and what we do with that experience. This is what matters. It doesn't matter what happens to us. It doesn't matter what kind of experiences we go through, but how those experiences affect us, what they do to us, how they change us, how we interact with life according to those experiences. And Virgo is about going back to school. So coming back to certain obligations and responsibilities that need to be done. So we are starting something new. We are reorganizing ourselves. We are redefining health. We are redefining what emotional, mental, and physical health means. We are rescheduling our life, and it's time for changing our lifestyle for better. And we all know what we're doing in the way that is not good for our health. And this new moon will show us, it will reveal to us what is wrong with our lifestyle. So we will have to make some changes. It's time for new routines, for new habits, for new healthy tasks, for new beginnings with our health, for new beginnings with work that we do, what kind of work we do. And it's really important to see what service to others really means. And we will be tested in these areas. We will be asked what service to others really means, and are we being of service? And this is something that is very important. Service to others. It's not what majority of people think. It's not people pleasing. It's not being slave to another. It's not taking responsibility for other people's actions and reactions. It's not taking on ourselves burdens of others. It's not doing tasks and duties that others are supposed to do for them. That's not service to others. Service to others is something completely different, and this new moon will show us. I won't be talking about it because it's really important for all of us to really feel and to question ourselves, to ask ourselves what service to others really is for us. And there is big shift in energies. It's very earthly period of time, and this new moon solar eclipse is making two harmonious aspects with two important players, with Uranus in Gemini and with Pluto in Aquarius. And these are deep transformations, profound transformations of how we connect, how we communicate, how we interact with each other, how we function in the group of people, how we function in the community, what community means for us, what is the power of getting together, of gathering, of being in the community, of having friends, of knowing the power of the people and the union. And there are big changes in this, big transformations we're about to see in how we connect and how we exchange ourselves with others, and how we are using technology as well. Technology will play an important role for healing too. And this may not happen all overnight, of course, but these are things that are being initiated now. Like, we can use technology to our service. And, we can use technology so that actually, the technology is copying the human being. And we may see now how people are starting to imitate the technology, but it's actually the other way around. The whole technology is based on us, on our abilities, and we definitely have to remember our true potential. And this new moon is also here to show us that true potential through facing us with the unavoidable, through confronting us with our fears and anxieties, so that we can dive deep and dig up some really powerful things, to remember our skills, to remember what we are capable of, and to see how far we've come and how we have survived everything. We should remember those situations when we thought that that's it, that we won't survive, either because of some physical condition or because of an emotional condition, because of loss, of grief, or whatever kind of suffering we've been through. But after all, we are here, and this moment right here is all that we have. And this new moon solar eclipse really puts a great focus on that kind of knowledge that we definitely have to realize and bring to awareness this truth, that this moment right here is everything that we have, and it's all that matters. This moment right here is all that matters. And it can be helpful if we start practicing some of those spiritual insights that we have gained through lunar eclipse in Pisces. And it's the spirit, Pisces, and the matter, Virgo, but they are not separated. And we have to embody that spirit and to express it through our body. That's what this body is for, to express the spirit, to be authentic expression of our soul. And Virgo is about practice. It's about being practical and productive and efficient. So let's do the work. We have to do the work. And it can be hard work. Virgo is related to hard work, but hard work doesn't have to be hard if we know why we are doing it. So the intention behind this work is very, very important, because if we don't know the intention behind doing what we are doing, then our health is being damaged in some way. And then actually when we are sick in our bodies, it's an amazing opportunity for us to reconnect with our spirit. It's a reminder, it's a wake-up call. It's a sobering moment that really puts us in this present moment, in this moment that we have right here. And when we are sick, we forget about everything else. The only thing we want is to be well again, is to get healthy. So it's very important to know these things and to focus on what we have instead of what we don't have. Because mostly we are suffering because of the things that we don't have, instead of really reminding ourselves of what we already have and what is already right here in front of us. And the question is, what do we really possess? What is truly ours? What can we call our own? And this can be a time when these things become much more evident, you know, of what is not ours and what is truly ours, what truly belongs to us and what was never ours in the first place. And there's a really, really great healing, and the focus should be very much on our mental, emotional, spiritual and physical hygiene. You know, purity of mind and heart is the key. We have to do it continuously, every day, to purge ourselves. You know, purity of mind and heart is really the answer. But we really have to do the work to purify ourselves. And, you know, impure thoughts, impure intentions, impure words, all these things. Of course, we shouldn't be obsessed about these things. These things come naturally when we are aligned with our true potential. Then these things come naturally when we are aware, when we are conscious. There is really low percentage of possibility for us to go into that direction of impurity. But impurity is not something bad. It really also serves us and shows us what needs to be improved. And everything serves its purpose. So Virgo really shows us those places where we need to improve ourselves. Virgo in the 6th house, it's all about self-improvement and self-development. That's why striving for perfection is not something bad either. But as long as we are aware that this continuous strive for perfection is what inspires us to always do better and be better and to give our best to improve all aspects of our life, because we can always improve something. You know, we should never just lie down and give up on anything. It's different when we are releasing something and letting go. But when we feel down, it's okay to feel down, but not for too long. You know, there is time for everything, as I said in previous video, and we should know the right measure of when it's enough. You know, but we see all the time that people are going into extremes, even when they are in grief or when they are in enjoying something. They want to get pleasure and they just can't get enough. So it's really time to see what is enough. And we may be going through something and we may exaggerate and we may, you know, just feel that it's too much. And this is a moment when we decide to change something. So, you know, extremes, as you see, are not always bad either, because they also put us in that situation where we just realize, like, okay, that's it. That's enough. I've had enough of it. It's too much. I've gone into extreme. I've exaggerated this time. I've gone over the line. And that's what really brings us back into alignment with who we are and where we are. And, you know, we are getting in tune with our body changes, with earth changes. Earth is changing, and earth is representing the greater body, and it's also vibrating with our body. As we are breathing, this earth is breathing, and vice versa. So as earth changes, our bodies are changing. And that's why it's also important to take care of our body, because if we take care of our home that we live in and live on, which is this planet, then we should also be aware that we have to take care of our body and our emotional and mental bodies too. So it's really important also to learn to be more adaptable. And Virgo is mutable sign. So it's really putting us in situations where we have to be more adaptable. And this new moon solar eclipse is also making harmonious trine with Uranus in Gemini. So these are some really could be radical, crazy changes, sudden changes, rapid changes that come through either information or news or a conversation with someone. For example, someone may say something that inspires us in a way that we couldn't imagine, and this inspiration can push us into a direction of changing our lifestyle for better. Or this can be, you know, a sudden offer for a new job, because Virgo is about working and Uranus is something sudden and unexpected, and Gemini is an offer and can be a contract too. So we can expect some kind of these scenarios, but on a more higher and deeper level, these could be brilliant ideas, genius downloads. I don't like word downloads, but I don't have better word right now in English. But, you know, just being able to be receptive and being access points as we are, you know, the transmitters. And this Uranus can really hit us like a lightning bolt, and it electrifies our mind and our bodies. So we may feel something like an electric shock that really awakens us. And this can be a word, an information, a message. You know, this can happen in an unexpected way. This is something we couldn't see coming. And it's there to help us get out of our emotional, mental, and physical spasm. And we are about to see how we've been locked in that spasm and we've been unable to move, and energy needs to move. Our bodies need to move. If we don't move our body, you know, it turns into something stiff and unmovable. So immediately it affects our emotions and our thoughts, and they don't move either. They just, you know, replay the same record. So it's very important to move. Let's move. And it's a powerful time for new diet regime and for new exercise regime, for really starting something different that will have life-changing, long-term impact on the quality of our life. So it's really about improving the quality of our lives. And there's an opportunity to slow down and to feel centered. You know, Virgo earth sign, it's about being grounded, you know, being centered, being anchored into who we are and into nature, into this moment, and to, you know, just let go of everything else. And there is a great focus on simplicity. Simplicity is also the key. Let's keep things simple. Let's not go into eternal analysis. Let's not go into endless discussions that are meaningless. You know, this is very important because it can take away our energy and vitality like this. When we are going into those eternal loops of discussing and overthinking and analyzing, we just feel drained and tired, and we lose our vital energy very quickly. It's leaking, and we cannot recover so quickly after that. So it's very important to know how to save our energy. And it's important to know where we are wasting our time and energy, how we are wasting our time and energy. And it's a question for all of us. You know, we are about to see this. This new moon solar eclipse will show us exactly where we are wasting our time and energy. and what is meaningless in our everyday life, because the focus is on our everyday life, on those little things that actually build our whole character and whole of who we are. And it is very important to know the power of discerning, to learn to discern, to know what is necessary and what is unnecessary, to know what is serving me and what is not serving me right now, to know what I give away and what I let go of and what I keep with me to stay. These things are very, very important. You know, Virgo, the Virgin archetype related to shamaness energy, the female shaman known as shamanka. And these are very powerful healing energies that bring us medicines, and we are about to find our own medicines. We are about to discover those medicines within us through facing all those things that we are usually running away from and that we are repeating unconsciously. And those medicines can be many, and we are each going to discover what that medicine is for us. So to learn to discern is very important, to separate the wheat from chaff and to harvest what is really good and what is usable, what is constructive, what is nutritious. And it's about self-nurturance and self-nourishment. This energy is very much about how we nurture and nourish ourselves. What we eat, how we feed our mental and emotional bodies too, not only our physical bodies. And really, we are asked, like, what do we need to keep and what do we need to release? And we have to choose carefully, to choose wisely. And it's also related to our friendships, of course, because of this trine with Pluto. And trine is helpful and beneficial aspect, but it's again Pluto, and Pluto is never easy, and it's eclipse, so it's definitely intense, something intense within our friendships, within our communities, you know, within our groups of people, within our social circles. It's something intense, and it's a powerful transformation. And we are asked to see what kind of groups that we are involved in, what kind of social groups that we are involved in are taking away our power, or where we are being overgiving and not receiving back what we need. And do we know how to receive love? Do we know how to receive gifts? And what do we think? How can we give anything if we don't know how to receive it? And is this ego or is this something else? You know, have we ever wondered? Like this is something that is seen as being humble when we don't want to receive anything in return. But it's very important to know how to receive, because, you know, if we don't know how to receive, then really the question is, how do we give? And what do we give actually then in that case? And this new moon solar eclipse is also asking us, what would we do even if we wouldn't be paid for that? What is it that we would do in this world? What would we do if we weren't paid for that? What is it that I would still choose to do even if I wasn't paid for it? This doesn't mean that we should do things for free, but this is just a question that helps us see what is our true passion, what really fulfills me internally, what fulfills my heart when I'm doing it. And it's really a good thing to meditate on and to take a walk with this question. You know, take a walk with this question and just let it sit with you. But of course, we have to take what is ours. Not to take, but to receive it. And, you know, Virgo, Earth sign, in trine with Pluto and Uranus in Gemini, really reminds us of our self-worth as well. And it shows us where we've been betraying and letting ourselves down, betraying ourselves. How we've been betraying ourselves, for how long. And we are about to see this too. So awareness is really needed now. Awareness and being present and not being too picky, not being too judgmental, too critical, too much of anything actually. This is very, very powerful time for detox, for complete detoxification of our mind, body and heart. And we need to be persistent and diligent and responsible and careful and humble in all this, in this whole process of detoxification, of purging, of cleansing. And our true self, our essence, doesn't really need any healing. It doesn't need to be purified because it's already pure. So when I talk about purification and detoxification, I'm not talking about our essence and the spirit. I'm talking about these layers and filters that we've inherited over time while we were growing up that completely block our passage to that essence of who we are, that completely stand in the way between me and me. And these layers could be very thick and dense, and they could be very strong, but they all collapse and disappear in the presence of consciousness. So in the presence of consciousness, in the presence of love, all these things disappear. Layers that are built on fear, all disappear. Our fears disappear. Our over self-protectiveness disappear. Our passive aggression disappear. Our need to prove ourselves disappear. Our need to prove our point disappears. So really the state of pure consciousness is important. That's why purging our bodies is very important, and our mental patterns, because this is not who we are, but our essence is being expressed through our bodies and through our senses. And this is how we meet the world, our external world. We meet through our senses too. And they are like the translators, the bridge between the inner and outer. Our body and our senses are the bridge between our inner and outer world. So it's very important for this communication to go smoothly, but we are usually misinterpreting everything, and there is big disbalance and there is a conflict between the inner and outer, and we keep it separate, and they are not communicating. And this is really a time to re-establish that communication, to re-establish that kind of connection between the inner and outer through our bodies and our senses. And how we're going to do it? Through purging and detoxing our bodies and our senses. So, you know, let's embrace simplicity. It's very important to embrace simplicity, and if we have too much desires, it's also something that is taking away a lot of our energy and creativity and potential. So it's very important to, put it all down to just a few desires, to just have a few desires, to keep it simple, and to spend more time in nature, to really awaken our realization of significance of being in nature and being with nature, and touching things around us, touching the trees, touching stones, touching grass, touching flowers and herbs. This is very important, to be in a relationship with those things, to communicate, because everything is always communicating with each other. So that's how we can re-establish that communication, through reconnecting with nature, and then communicating with nature to reawaken this connection that has been lost for many years and maybe eons. And it's really wonderful opportunity for healing and to get a boost, to really get a powerful boost of energy and vitality. And you know, this is not only about physical diet and exercises, but you know, we have to see what kind of mental diet and mental exercises we are about to start practicing and doing. And you know, what are we cultivating in our mental garden? Is it peace, kindness and patience? Or is it something else? Are we giving in to our anger, rage, lust, obsessions, jealousy, possessiveness, need to own and earn and have more and more and never get enough? What are we cultivating in our mental garden? You know, that's also another very powerful thing to ask ourselves, to also take a walk with that question. You know, what are we cultivating in our mental garden? What are we cooking in our mental kitchen? And it's time to keep refining our life, to keep refining it every day, little by little, small steps, Virgo, small things, details, you know, little by little, step by step, one step at a time. And this is what will get us anywhere, wherever we want. But if we are impatient, and if we want things to finish now, and if we don't know to honor the process, we are about to fail again. But it doesn't matter, because no matter how many times we fail, we can always get up. And it's very important not to stay there lying on the ground and weeping. It's important to know, okay, I failed again, I'm getting up, I'm starting it again, but this time differently. And it's really, really powerful time for that, for doing it again, but differently. Getting up again, seeing that we have failed, but then again, getting up and doing it. Because, you know, this is something that our essential self really notices and feels. And this is when we reconnect with that essence within us. When we see that we have failed, but we say, okay, I failed, but that's fine, I'm getting up, doing it again. This is the moment where we reconnect with our true selves. And this is actually where true self is speaking through us, when we are able to do that. But if we are, you know, desperate and we want to play victims and we want help from others all the time, and we say, oh, how miserable we are, or we are self-pitying, that's when we are completely disconnected from anything. We are far away from our true self. But it's okay, because as I said, this extreme will also get us again into the situation where we again have an opportunity to reestablish that communication. It just takes more time. So how many times are we going to repeat something? It's like, you know, in the school, you know, people who are repeating grades, you know, it's just the matter of time. But we are all getting there sooner or later. And as I said, the experiences, what we do with experiences is what is important, not necessarily what kind of experiences we have. And, you know, as I said, we have to keep refining our life. And we can start with one layer of dust, and we find that there is another layer, and then another layer, and another layer. But it doesn't matter. This shouldn't disempower us, but actually inspire us. Because, okay, there's so much work to do. And it's great that there's so much work to do, because every time I clean this layer of dust, you know, I'm feeling much better and more inspired to clean even more. And this is really about dusting out our physical system and also our mental system several times a day. And, you know, practicing any kind of meditation is very, very helpful. And as I always say, meditation doesn't have to be official meditation where we are sitting in silence, you know, in a certain position. But meditation can be anything that really brings you joy. And, we should all find meditation that is right for us. We shouldn't even search in the books, but really just go out with ourselves, take a walk with ourselves and see what is really meditation for us, what brings us into that state of being where we can be, in the state of joy with nothing, with just simplicity. And let's all find that perfect meditation for ourselves. And, this is anything that brings us into that state of connectedness with who we truly are, with our true nature, and with the Mother Nature, and with the sky and earth. So, it's also important to take care of details and to also maybe try to whistle while we work. It changes everything. To sing or whistle while we work, it can change everything. Or even I read somewhere that humming is also perfect, and that as long as we are humming, it's impossible to have heavy thoughts. But, whatever works for you, humming, whistling, singing any melody, whatever, it can work. It can be a miracle, it can be our medicine. So let's whistle while we work, sing while we work, or just suddenly during the work or whatever we are doing, just suddenly make a break and start dancing and singing, all these kinds of things that we usually consider like, wow, it's a crazy thing to do, but it's actually something that brings us back together with that essence of our being. And we can really bring upliftment and cheerfulness into all tasks that we do. Those little tasks, little things that we do. And those little things that we do every day, when we bring beauty, meaning, and cheerfulness into those things, well, our everyday becomes joyful. Our everyday is a reason to celebrate. Our everyday becomes a blessing, and every moment becomes a new moment that is never going to be repeated again. And it's very unique. And when we are aware of this, when we are truly aware that each moment, each breath, each step is unique and it's a live moment, it's really magic. We are living magic then. And it's time to reset our system through this kind of thing, through, bringing that cheerfulness and meaning into our everyday life. And this is what is resetting our whole system. And as I said somewhere in some video where I talked about Virgo, I said that instead of swallowing the pill, we should swallow the pain. It's so easy to swallow the pill for anything. There is pill for everything today. There is pill just for anything that we can imagine. But instead of doing this, let's swallow that what we want to suppress with that pill. Let's swallow that kind of thing. Let's swallow that pain. Let's swallow that headache. Let's swallow that physical pain. Let's swallow the worry. Let's swallow anything that is upsetting us and is making us feel uncomfortable. Let's swallow that. Let's see how our digestive system is going to process that much better than the pill probably. And it's going to teach us something. And the pill demands repetition again, so we didn't do anything. So the next time we feel this way, we are going to have the need to swallow the pill again. And these are temporary comforts, temporary pleasures, habitual things that take us away from our true core selves. So we are avoiding to actually be here. And we should remember that we truly are what we eat. But the question is, what are we eating? Not only food, but what are we eating as impressions? Impressions are also the food. So what are our everyday, daily impressions like? And this new moon solar eclipse is really time when the moon is totally discharged. So we may feel empty and totally discharged. It's at zero level. It's totally empty and ready for getting the tank full. And it's very powerful time to really see what we want to fill that tank with. And it's time of low tide, you know, time when sea level decreases and withdraws, and we can see what's beneath the surface. This withdrawal reveals to us what's been hidden and invisible, and this is what is going to happen with us. This new moon is going to like remove the cloak from us and to remove the veil, and we are about to see ourselves without those layers, without protective forms and walls. And you know, it's really powerful to accept everything with patience and with responsibility, really, and willingness to do the work. No matter if we fail or fall or make mistakes, it doesn't matter. We are learning through our mistakes. And this trine with Pluto, it amplifies the need for honesty and a willingness to face important issues in our interactions with others. And Pluto's message is always that our problems are not truly out there in the world, but they lie within ourselves. And there's a great quote from Meister Eckhart. Again, I'm quoting him often lately. And he says, do exactly what you would do if you felt most secure. You know, do exactly what you would do if you felt most secure. You know, this is like, what would we do if we knew that we cannot fail, that there is no option to fail? What would we do? And let's dare to do that. And with this, I would end this forecast, and I wish us all a renewing, healing, purging, detoxifying new moon solar eclipse in Virgo, last degrees of Virgo. Let's do this work. Let's take responsibility, and let's find our medicine and meditation that is right for us. Love you all, and see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.